Hello and welcome to my garden. Today in this overcast rainy weather is a great day for transplanting orchids. So I love this vine. This is a vanilla orchid. Now they're supposed to be incredibly difficult to keep. I've had no issues with this orchid, and I think it's because I just put it in the bathroom and left it alone. Now I've got a few things here that I'm going to use to repot it, because now that I've kept it alive for almost 12 months, I'm going to pop it into a nice indoor pot. So I've got a nice indoor pot here. Doesn't have great drainage, and this one gets most of its nutrients from the air, so it needs really good drainage. So what I've done is I've got an old pot, you know, those terribly flimsy plastic ones that you get from the big nurseries sometimes. Okay, one of those pots, and all I've done is scissors, it's done a quick snip, and I'm putting it into the bottom of the pot. Vanilla orchids don't need a lot of soil. As I said, they get most of their moisture and nutrients from the roots up above. So, of course it works perfectly off camera. There we go. So you can see that what I've done is pop it in there and bend those bits out. So that's going to create a raised air pocket in the middle to keep that soil drying out as much as possible. Now, I don't have an orchid mix, so I quickly mixed up one of my own. I did a bit of research and figured out the key elements, and here's what I've got. I've got some broken up bark. This just comes from the native spotted gums that grow all over our block. So I've just broken that up into smaller pieces. I've got cocoa peat, which is broken up coconut fibre, and those white bits you can see in there are perlite. They might look like little balls of polystyrene, but in fact they are little bits of volcanic rock that have been popped like popcorn. So I'm going to pop that in around the base here. The other reason for putting the pot upside down is, rather than filling it with gravel or something like that, is to stop it from getting too heavy. Because if it's indoors, we're going to want to move it every so often. Whoops, almost forgot. Before I finish putting that soil in, I have to put in this. Now this is something I made when I got the vanilla orchid. It needs something to climb, and it's not really a trellis climber, and it also needs something that will hold nutrients. So what I've done is I have got a stick again from a spotted gum, and then I have wrapped coconut fibre around it. Now coconut fibre is naturally antifungal, which is also great because this is in my bathroom and I don't want it getting fungus or mould. But there's no signs of fungus or mould on that at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that in there. It's tall because this vine gets very tall. We've got it sitting in a corner near the window. It gets bright light all day and obviously high humidity from the shower, but it doesn't get any direct sunlight, which is good because it doesn't like direct sunlight. Okay, so that's full now. I'm just going to move it over here to where I can lean it up against the chair. So I don't want it falling over accidentally. Now, just going to pull that out. That's an old banana skin. I used the banana skin trick. If you don't know what that is, a lot of orchid growers put a banana peel in their orchids once a year because the nutrients in bananas are ones that orchids love. Now, I'm going to unpin this from this trellis. I'm not going to use this trellis anymore because it's got the big stick. Now there's signs of rot there, which is not good. And what I'm going to do is very gently tip it out, and whenever you repot an orchid you should always check the roots. Now the roots on this guy are not incredibly substantial. Doesn't look too bad, there's just that one little bit of rot, but I'm reluctant to cut any of that. I was going to cut the roots. Usually you'll cut the roots when you transplant orchids, but I don't think that's a good idea because there's not much here. Right, so what I'm going to do is gently place that in there, and I'm going to try and find the natural kinks to wrap around my stick here. I've momentarily, they've got a special name, but I've momentarily forgotten what it is. I'm going to reload all of that. I'm going to keep raising the roots so that the bit that was above the soil is above the soil. Now, if I was going to cut the roots, which I thought I would have to, but I don't, I would use a sterilised knife. I've got one here. It's just a kitchen knife that I've dunked in boiling water, and cut about the bottom 3 centimetres off the root. There we go. It's repotted. Now, because this is an indoor plant and I don't want to be getting mess anywhere, the other thing that I got the other day to go with this pot is some nice pebbles from my local hardware, just to go on the top of the pot. I got bigger ones because I want to allow air through, because orchids like lots of airflow and humidity rather than wet soil. Vanilla orchids anyway. There we go. Very pretty rocks. There we are. Ideally what I want to see is some of these aerial roots going into the cocoa peat, because that's where it gets its nutrients from. Now, while we've got a bit of a break in the weather, because I don't want to spray a foliar spray when it's pouring down with rain, because obviously it'll just wash off, I'm going to quickly spray with a foliar spray. All this is a good quality orchid fertilizer from my local hardware, and I've mixed it up in a spray bottle. And what I'm going to do is just spray, but you'll notice that I'm not just spraying the plant, I'm spraying the whole stick, because those aerial roots are going to get the nutrients from that cocoa fibre. So I'm just spraying the whole thing, all the leaves and the cocoa fibre. Fill it up with fertilizer, and that should help it grow. Because while this has been alive in my bathroom with pretty much no care for the last almost 12 months, it's only put on about that much growth, and in the warm conditions we've been having, I would expect more. So that's it, it's fertilised. I'm going to rush it back inside before the rain feels like it's going to start getting heavier in a minute. Thanks for watching. Please post a comment if you have an opinion or a question, and I'll see you next time.